In business, there's no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. When you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on. Because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else: your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Stormy Buonantony and Jonathan Von Tobel with you as we kick off hour 2 of Money Moves live from downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Jam-packed hour on tap. Our guy, Zach Cohen, is going to join us in about 15 minutes, dive into all things NBA.
You got the rest of this, then.
We're going to talk about the 2 play-in games we have tonight. We will find out who the 8 seeds in each conference ultimately are going to be. We will also go through, in addition to series bets, series prices, talk through some of those early game ones that we have beginning tomorrow in the association. Plenty of NHL. We'll have best bets at the end of the hour with that thought process, and the NHL's regular season officially coming to a close last night as well. We'll grade our NHL bets for the most part. A couple of them still pending. No need. Don't want to.
Well, you in our spreadsheet graded some of my futures that technically have not been graded yet.
Would you like to tell our audience what that is?
New York Rangers to win the Eastern Conference.
Who are not in the playoffs, so I thought that was fair. I thought that was,
still hasn't been graded.
Appropriate that we could put that in as an L.
Austin Matthews to win the Hart Trophy. Still has yet to be determined. And total points you can get grade because that's the regular season's over.
Yes.
And I had over 90 and a half. How many did you finish with?
Like 50 something.
Is that not close?
I mean, if you had it over 90 something.
Interesting. So you're going to see 2 losses that technically have not come to fruition yet. I'm just going to put that out there. Okay. Don't put the graphic up. Come on. You don't have to put that up there.
It's okay.
You don't have to put that up there.
That's why honestly, I really needed to grade those futures today because this has been probably my worst week betting NHL all season. It's been brutal. Like, I need to make a note on my calendar just not to bet the final week of the NHL regular season next year because it has been abysmal. So the futures actually saved me and got me back in the green for the NHL like we needed. Yesterday, even, the win that I had, the win that I had Nashville getting, they did not get. They ended up losing 5-4 to the Anaheim Ducks yesterday, which ended up, my make the playoffs bet comes through for Anaheim. Panthers under 100.5 team points gets there. My Golden Knights to win the division gets there. Mitch Marner, close but no cigar on the points. The prop was 92.5. He only had around 80 something. Connor McDavid, 40 plus goals was money, to say the least. So that was exciting that we were able to get that one home, and now has turned me to want to bet the Oilers in the first round against the Anaheim Ducks. We talked about this with Mike Palm earlier on the program. I will be absolutely stunned if they don't cover the 1.5 games. And I know Palm even brought up too.
Absolutely stunned.
He contemplated. The Ducks, like a cookie in milk, are crumbling. They are falling apart. They have no defense. They have no PK. I'll give you some exact numbers for that. Bottom 4 in goals against per game this year. Penalty kill, bottom 6 in the league. Taking on an Oilers team that's top 6 in scoring and is unbelievable on the power play, especially when they have Leon Draisaitl back, who apparently looks like he's going to be ready and available. Connor McDavid was asked after the game yesterday what he's thought about Draisaitl since he got back practicing this week, and he said he looks awesome. So you're going to have McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, Matt Savoy playing like a true top 6 player. He had a hat trick yesterday. There's just too much good about the Edmonton Oilers right now in terms of this matchup with Anaheim that I think is going to fare really, really poorly with the Ducks, who have won just 2 of their last 11 games, JVT. One of those being last night against Nashville, where they still gave up 4 goals.
If they win the series, how do they do it?
Anaheim?
Yeah.
Goaltending. Lucas Dostal, I will say, is I think can definitely steal a game in this series. But I find it hard to believe that they can that he can do enough specifically. They'll have the scoring, which is good, but What are you thumbs upping? Oh, sorry.
Focus.
I can't. I'm like the dog from Up. Squirrel.
Our crew did something nice for me. They put the TV on the game. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that Lucas Dostal would have to step up mightily, and they defensively, like, I just don't think defensively that they have it there, and maybe like win like a back and forth outscoring crazy battle, because even in the regular season matchups that they had this year, it was 2-1 in favor of Edmonton, but all of the games were high volume scoring, and the game that they did win, I think, was like a 6-5 win for them, and I think that's how they have to do it.
Okay, I like it. You got to play devil's advocate. You got to check both sides.
Sure.
Talk it out.
What I think the big question with Edmonton is how far can they ultimately go? We know, as we just pulled up that graphic, with Florida going under their season win total this year, they're the back-to-back defending champs, and they're not even in the postseason at all because of the way that the injury bug caught up with them this year. It is a grueling process to go through year after year, such a long postseason, given the physicality of a game like hockey. And so with Edmonton, they've been there back-to-back years as well, suffered heartbreak back-to-back years with those series going 6 and 7 games. So how do they climb out of that, and can they get there this year? I don't know. Once they get through this round, they'll get either Vegas or Utah, depending on who comes out of that side. So that is, I would say, advantage them on the surface. Mm-hmm. But you still have to go through Colorado in the Western Conference more than likely.
At the risk of upsetting you and going out of order here, are you surprised that the Knights are as favored as they are in this series? Near $2 favorites against Utah.
Yes and no. I think they're rightful favorites, and they are a team that very much so feels like they're getting into the form that we all thought they would be at largely throughout the course of the regular season. And you have Mark Stone and Jack Eichel playing to their caliber, Mitch Marner really getting involved. The biggest issue for Vegas all season long has been goaltending, and Carter Hart has stepped in and played really, really well. And Torts, because of the past that they have in Philadelphia, really does believe in him and has been vocal about that belief, which I think for a goalie in a position that's so mental is probably something that has meant a lot for him throughout the course of this process. So if he can actually play up to that standard, they have the talent. They're very veteran. They know what it takes to make a deep run in the playoffs. And so it makes sense to me against a team in Utah that hasn't been here. They've got a lot of young guys and are trying to figure it out, but they are a very good team. So I understand why Mike Palm likes them. I think this series could go a little bit longer than maybe Vegas Golden Knights fans would like to see happen. But I think Vegas gets out of this round. I think it's Vegas Edmonton in the next round, and then we go from there.
Okay.
I also have a 10-1 ticket on the Golden Knights to win it all. So I would.
You're trying to speak this into existence.
And I'm what?
So what has changed under Tortorella then?
I think mentality and attitude.
I don't buy that garbage.
And aggression.
We've gone the whole, 80%, 90% of the season sucking, and some dude comes in and is like, your mentality is off. And now all of a sudden we're a tried and true contender.
No, I think that
because you're not the only person that has said that, by the way. I've just, sometimes we buy into this garbage in sports, and I don't buy it.
He has done some line tinkering that I found interesting as well.
I like data. I like facts. Let's get into this.
He's done some line tinkering that I find interesting that they did, for one, he has largely kept Mitch Marner at center. And when he does have him go up and play on the wing, they overload that top line with Marner, Eichel, and Stone for bursts. It's not for long extended periods of time, but when they do it, it does create a little bit of momentum and more opportunities with those shots on net that I think have mattered in moments for them. But largely, I think there's just something to what it does to a room when you fire a coach, when you think you are good and you think like maybe there was a complacency thing, maybe there was just disagreements, I don't know, but it's made a difference. And we see that in short bursts oftentimes when there is a coaching change, but specifically for a team like this that has such lofty goals, I think it mattered.
Okay. Just curious.
I don't know. The only other bet.
It's a very confident way to end that one. I don't know.
I will be on game one. I will be on game one of this series, though, coming up on Sunday, which is exciting. Nice.
I thought you meant like a bet. You're going to be on the.
I can't have a bet.
Do we call it a sideline? What do we call it? You're going to be on the ice. You're going to be rinkside. There you go.
I'll be in a VOM.
Okay. Looking forward to you being on the show on Monday with me for all 2 hours.
I will be on to preview Game 2 of Dallas, Minnesota that day. So I have a weird schedule.
Not going to be here?
I have a weird schedule with really tight turnarounds. I'm doing 3 games in 3 days in 3 different cities, which is exciting and fun, but a little a little exhausting as well, but I will be on, make sure that I stop by with you guys to preview each one of those games. I'll be doing the Vegas-Utah game on Sunday, like I said, Dallas-Minnesota game 2 on Monday, and then Tuesday I'll do game 2 of Avs-Kings.
Okay.
So knocking it out as we go. Very Western Conference heavy.
That is not a series that seems to be up for grabs. Colorado and LA.
No, I would not assume so. However, you never know. Like all of these series could go a little bit longer. Hockey's interesting and first round stuff, you never really know what you're going to get, but I feel like Colorado should be dominant. They've been the best team in all of hockey since October, and they've only really had one lull in the schedule, maybe 2 if you want to bring up the January stretch where they lost 4 of 5, but even then it's very, very minimal what they've had. They are so good offensively, they're so skilled, they're strong on D, they've gotten what they need to out of their goaltending. The only thing, if you want to be nitpicky, that they've struggled with would be the power play, oddly enough, but their penalty kill is one of the best in the league. So they are dominant. They're the favorite for a reason. I'm very curious to see, though, going through the Central, if either Dallas or Minnesota can maybe really test them and give them a run. Obviously, I am somebody who is invested in the Minnesota Wild, big picture from the beginning of the season. I think that would be my ideal matchup, but I wonder if they can actually really, really do something there.
Okay. Buy it. I'm excited. This postseason should be good. I like these first rounds because we're really loaded up. Sorry, LaMelo Ball. 7 games on Saturday between the NBA and the NHL. Absolutely fantastic. So I like this time of year. It's going to be great.
As do I. And I'm sure you'll be texting me plenty of opinions as we go, which is a good reminder. If you and your friends have the group chat going, Cut was built for you because Cut is a social betting platform that lets you bet directly against your friends on all the stuff you guys are talking about. You can bet sports, politics, pop culture, even personal bets. Every bet as well. Fully customizable and pre-funded. So if you have one of those friends that flakes out on you, they can't with Cut. No excuses. And unlike traditional betting apps as well, Cut actually gives you cash back on every bet you make, even against your friends. You can get a 20% deposit bonus right now on that first deposit if you use our promo code VSIN, V-S-I-N. Head over to Cut.com now to learn more. That's KUTT.com, or you can download Cut in the App Store as well. And again, use that promo code VSIN. We are stepping aside here on Money Moves. When we come back, Zach Cohen going to help us break down the play-in games coming up tonight and look ahead to some of the NBA postseason at large. Who can advance and win it all? We'll hit it all when we come back.
Oh. So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The final 2 spots in the NBA postseason to be decided tonight in the NBA play-in. As we welcome you back to Money Moves, that beautiful voice you just heard, Jonathan Von Tobel. I'm Stormy Buonantony with you. Excited to have our good friend Zach Cohen with us. Yes, in his usual Friday spot, but we're doing a twofer today, Zach. Very excited. Of course, our senior editor over at VSiN.com, host of the Hardwood Handicappers podcast as well. You can check out wherever you get your podcasts. And Zach, before we get into the nitty gritty of some of these games, I am curious. You've been doing a lot of work over at the website right now. I feel like there's write-ups on everything. What should people know in terms of the resources that are available right now for our listeners?
Yeah, I have series previews up for all 6 of the series that we currently know. Tonight, at some point, I will get to the other 2 once we have the results of the 2, play-in games that'll determine the 8 seeds. So every single series will be previewed. We will also be doing our usual best bets and player props every single day throughout the postseason. Steve Makinen is doing all of his analytics, his trends, all of it. So everything we were doing during the regular season will be up at the website, but also amplified because we know the playoffs, requires a little bit more in-depth analysis.
A deft hand, if you will. Okay, let's get to tonight. Some would say LaMelo Ball has a deft hand, especially when it comes to potentially tripping and injuring opposing players. But that is neither here nor there. We are beyond that. Let's talk about this game this evening. The Orlando Magic have checked out. They hate each other. Jamal Mosley is going to be fired at some point when this is all over with. And Paolo Banchero is afraid to shoot a basketball. How are we handling this game with all of those positive things going for the Orlando Magic?
Yeah, I did take the Hornets money line, and I feel like every single person on the planet is on the Hornets money line, so that makes me a little bit nervous. But I do just look at these two teams, and I see way too big of a difference when you look at the offenses. I mean, this Hornets team has been the best three-point shooting team in basketball, and the Magic have been, 25th in the league in three-point makes per game, even after acquiring Desmond Bane to fix that problem. And Bane has played well, which is almost the crazy thing about this team, is that Bane did everything that they asked him to do. Anthony Black did everything that he was asked to do in terms of making a year-over-year leap, but this team is still awful. The mix between Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner does not work, and obviously the coach situation with Mosley and Banchero does not seem to work. So I did the math battle is going to be the biggest thing in this game, but I do think Orlando at some point just folds after a really disappointing season, and maybe it comes in like the third quarter. Like if the Hornets are up by 6-7 points in this game late in the third, I'd be looking to play Charlotte to extend that lead rather than take the Magic to go and make it closer.
Man, I hope just for the city that they can get it done. Haven't been to the playoffs in a decade. I know it would mean a lot to a lot of people out there.
Forget the city. We got 12-1 to make the playoffs. Screw Charlotte.
And
we just need this team to get in. Yeah.
Baby. To follow up on that, though, real quickly, Zach, should they win, as we all think and hope that they will today, going on to face the top seed in the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons, how do you think just early on you think that matchup, that they might match up with Detroit?
Yeah, of course, it will depend on pricing, so don't hold me to this 100%, sure. But I will probably be on the Hornets in that series to either keep it close or even potentially win it if we get a good enough number on it. I just think Detroit is a team that we've talked about all season long, lacking perimeter creation outside of Cade Cunningham. I know that Cunningham is an all-NBA player now that he's, eligible with the 60-game ruling, but also I do think that Jalen Duren is a good player, but not a playoff player. I think you see less kind of traditional post work and true bigs dominating in playoff series. I think you're going to need to have a guard or a wing step up and help Cade. I don't think that you have anybody that you could say is going to do it every single night. So the Hornets become a big problem if they end up making it. And that's almost why this game matters even more tonight, not just for the result of the actual bet, but in terms of the actual playoffs. We could really use a really good first round series. There aren't that many right now.
All right, let's go to the Western Conference tonight, and then we'll get to these series as well with you. Golden State and Phoenix. We're starting to see this move in Golden State's direction. We peaked at about 3.5. I didn't see anything higher than that. Now it's a bunch of threes across the board. Some spots are starting to get to that 2.5-point range. I know we've got a player prop here. Let's take your Suns hat off, though, for a second, and let's take a look at this. What do you expect for Phoenix today? And when I say that, too, by the way, he can be pessimistic about the Suns. So I want a neutral, down-the-middle observation about this game, Zach.
Well, I am as down the middle as possible because I do not have a play on it. I think that the Phoenix side is the right side. Like if you look at the numbers over the course of the season, Phoenix is the better team in terms of adjusted offensive rating and defensive rating. They also, cause more turnovers than any team in the league outside of two. And this Warriors team can be very careless with the basketball. So I think that while, Phoenix has struggled a little bit in the half court over the last couple of weeks, I do think there's a chance that the Warriors kind of gift them some points and get their confidence going. And this is also a spot where Phoenix has an extra day of rest. They are playing 2 home games in a row. It is very difficult to win in Phoenix. And I think the Suns are going to be motivated to go out there and avoid being, the first 7 seed to not make the postseason in the play-in tournament. But at the same time, I didn't feel comfortable taking it because of the championship pedigree of the Warriors. I do think Golden State's defense can cause some problems for Phoenix's backcourt, which is turnover prone. And overall, it's not the most comforting feeling in the world going against Stephen Curry in a 1-game elimination series. So I do think this is a game to kind of avoid. I also feel, similarly about the under. I think that looks like the right side as well. But we've seen a few games that looked like they were going to be unders go flying over the total in the play-in so far. So I just don't really want to take it. So went with the player prop only.
VSiN senior editor over here at VSiN.com, host of the Hardwood Handicappers podcast as well. Can you talk us through that prop a little bit? What ended up leading you down that direction? And I feel like you've been doing props so much throughout the course of the season. Is that a way that you're going to attack the postseason in general on a game-by-game basis, maybe more than sides and totals?
Yeah, I do actually think I'm going to end up on a ton of player props throughout the playoffs because I have so many series plays that it could be a little awkward trying to play, game by game in between there. So I think that props are going to be a good way to kind of attack this for people that do have plays on every series. And I have been finding some good edges throughout the course of the season, especially the second half of the season. I've been feeling really good about my player prop like reads and stuff. So I will, probably be throwing in a bunch of those. And the one for tonight, I just continue to think that Santos is being priced, improperly. Like when you look at this Warriors team, he plays roughly 30 minutes per game. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's a good decision maker. He impacts the game on the glass. And you look at the last 19 games, he's averaging 25.7 PRA. And the total for tonight's only 20.5. And he had a big game the other night when they won that game in LA against the Clippers. And he also had a big game the last time he faced the Suns. So I don't see any reason to really go away from him here. I know that there are more bigs kind of making their mark in this Golden State rotation. They have to find minutes for Porzingis. They have to find minutes for Horford. But I don't think those are going to come away from Santos, a player that, they've now invested in. And, was a big part of what, sending Jonathan Kuminga out of town. He ended up emerging as their best kind of small ball four and a guy that could play on the wing.
Guy Santos, as we learned during the broadcast the other day, playing for the Golden State Warriors. All right, let's talk about the series that both of these teams will walk into. Phoenix, Golden State. Do you give, I don't want to say puncher's chance, but ATS-wise, are they going to be plucky against OKC? Does one matchup better with the other? What do you expect for the winner of this against the Thunder?
I would give the Warriors a better chance of making things competitive in that series just because, like I said, I think the perimeter defense for Golden State's pretty good. I think they have some good defensive options in the back of the defense when you're talking about, Porzingis' rim, protecting ability, Draymond's just kind of all-world defensive switchability, and then just what you get out of Al Horford being a veteran that's been there before. I think that combined with Stephen Curry and the playmaking of Draymond Green gives you a little bit more of a high floor in between that series, like game by game. Could see them covering in a few games, could see them winning one or two at home, but I don't think Phoenix stands much of a chance, which is why I'm going to sound like a terrible fan saying this, but I'd almost rather the Suns just get eliminated tonight and go into the offseason healthy than win this game and then have Booker get, tripped up by Lou Dort and be out for next season.
Understandable.
That's such a terrible mindset to have. Why put that out into the world, Zach?
What?
That's a scary team. They're very physical. We're not going to be able to beat them. I just want the season to end.
Yeah, what do you mean? That's why we're like, oh yes,
No.
I get to watch my team get their faces caved in for 4 games. This is so much fun.
Who comes out here and says, no, I don't want my team to make the playoffs because they could get hurt?
I'm not hurt. They're just going to lose.
Ay.
They can get hurt.
I did
Emotionally, too.
One last thing, because we've talked about Draymond so much. JVT brought this up because I hadn't seen it, that Draymond, I guess, was physically sick before the game the other day. How does he end up having that type of a performance on Kawhi when he is actually, to use JVT's terms, blowing chunks pregame? Yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, these guys are built different. They get fluids in them right before the games, and they're able to do things that you would not expect out of a normal human being. But Draymond is such a strong competitor and just like a feisty player that, you always expect him to go out and at least play well defensively. It's the offensive end of the floor where he has really kind of slipped over these last few years. He's still such a good defender, though.
Blowing chunks is the best of the puking. I don't know what the term I'm looking for is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like in the competitive eating circles, it's a reversal. Mm-hmm. Like if you ever watch the hot dog eating contest, that's what they call it, that you get dinged if you throw
Spewing
up
is a pretty good
reversal.
one, underrated.
No, I don't, that just is. There's a list of words that I don't like, and I think that would be pretty high on it. Okay, Zach is going to stick around. We have more NBA talk to come. We will get some of his full series angles, and with Game 1's getting underway tomorrow, some early bets that you can make headed into the weekend. So don't go anywhere. More with Zach Cohen when we return here on Money Moves, breaking down all things NBA postseason.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cubs still up 6-3 with our lone day game in Major League Baseball against the Mets, who are hoping they can get back in this thing and put an end to what has been an 8-game skid. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. That said, we're going to stick with NBA talk. Zach Cohen, kind enough to give us an extra segment today. VSiN.com senior editor, also NBA analyst, host of the Hardwood Handicappers podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. Since we did the deep dive on the play-in, Zach, let's look ahead to some of these series at large that we already know who's playing who. I know one you have various levels of investment in is this Hawks-Knicks series. So take us through it. I feel like Atlanta has been the side most people that I've talked to have had interest in. We've seen that number come down a bit. What's your perspective?
Yeah, I feel like it's really easy to kind of fall in love with what the Hawks have done, the second half of the season. Like since the All-Star break, they're number 4 in the NBA in net rating. They've been the second best defensive team in the league, and they've been playing pretty well offensively, given the kind of lack of primary ball handlers that they have on the roster. But if you look kind of deeper, you see that this team struggled when playing really strong competition. And, one of the losses that they did suffer was a home loss against the Knicks, where they made more threes than New York. They turned the ball over fewer times than New York. And those are just the types of games you expect to win, but you don't win them when you're the worst team. So I think the Knicks are just a much better team than this Hawks team. And I do think the lack of size that Atlanta has inside is going to be a major problem against Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson. You're talking about Onyeka Okongwu, a player that I really like, but definitely undersized at the center position at 6'9". And you're missing your backup center now in Jock Landale. So there's just really nobody to kind of body up these Knicks bigs who have been relentless on the glass. And Towns is a player that when you put a traditional big on him and one that's smaller than him on him, he can really dominate.
All right, what about the best rebounding power forward in this series, Josh Hart? What's your expectation for him?
I took Josh Hart to go over 6.5 rebounds in game 1. And I do just think if you look at some of the numbers he's put up in the postseason lately, they're actually insane. So last year against Detroit, he averaged 8.7 rebounds per game. Against Boston, he averaged 8.3 rebounds per game. Then against Indiana, he averaged 9.3 rebounds per game. So while you joke and call him a power forward, like that really is kind of what he is. Like he's a small ball big that plays the guard position, almost like what Bruce Brown did for the Nuggets when they won the title a couple of years ago. I just feel like this is going to be a series where he makes a huge mark on the glass because he doesn't have to deal with kind of the traditional giants that he normally has to deal with. So I like him to have 7+ in game 1. It's a little juicy at -128, but I'm willing to take it.
That's it? Nothing else than Josh Hart for the series, huh?
JVT wants me to take him to lead the series in rebounds, and I don't know that I want to do that.
Come on.
Why are you prying? Are you going to have that in the account?
It's 30-1. Come on. I will say this. You rattled off all the numbers. For 3 straight seasons now, Josh Hart in the 99th percentile defensive rebounding rate for his position. So he's a dynamite rebounder, and my logic will be that if it's a short series, which it could be, that if he has one of those big 10-rebound games or something like that, he's got a better shot than 30-1. That's all.
All right. Let's move it forward to Denver and Minnesota, which we're getting this becoming a little bit of a postseason rivalry, the way the last few years have played out. 2023 postseason first round, Anthony Edwards averages 30 a game, but they end up losing, not being able to handle, I think, a 4-1 loss, in that series to Nikola Jokic and company. 2024 West semifinals, they get their revenge. The big game 7, Anthony Edwards, again, incredible. As far as this year goes in the regular season, Denver took 3 of 4. Obviously, they've got the best player in the world, and Anthony Edwards has dealt with some injury issues this season. How do you think everything plays out when all is said and done?
Yeah, so I do think Denver ends up winning this series. Actually, the biggest play that I made in the postseason is the Nuggets parlayed with the Knicks in a postseason parlay for both teams to just get the job done and win. But I do think this is a series that a lot of people are going back to that series from 2 years ago and saying, they did a really good job on Joker, which they did. But if you kind of fast forward to this year, Joker absolutely dominated this Minnesota team. I just don't really think they're going to have much of an answer for him. The only thing I'm worried about with the Nuggets is the health of Peyton Watson, because I don't think Christian Brown can guard Anthony Edwards in a best-of-7 series. I think they're going to need Watson out there, and Watson did re-aggravate an injury that kept him out 6 weeks, not too long ago. So a little bit nervous about what his status is going to be in this series, but as long as he plays most of the games, so if they get him back like game 2 or game 3, I think Denver wins this in 6 or fewer. So that's the way I'm looking there, but I do have Ayo Dosunmu over 10.5 points in game 1, because I do think that this is a game where he should really play well against a Denver team that does not defend guards all that well.
JVT, to Zach's point about how Nikola Jokic has played in the regular season series, I was going back through the game logs. He had 56 in one of the games. Yep. He had a triple-double in all but one of the games, and the one that he didn't, he was 1 assist shy. He was awesome.
He was. And Peyton Watson just posted a picture of him in a do-rag in the Nuggets weight room. So this series might just be over. All right, let's talk about
AI.
a couple
That's
of these.
AI.
No, it's actually Nikola Jokic. I'm pretty sure, although I've been fooled by less. All right. A couple of other series. Let's hit Cleveland and Toronto really quickly. I bet this thing under 5.5 games. I think it could be pretty short. You are, I feel like, the only other person who shares the affinity for the Cleveland Cavaliers that I have. What's your expectation today?
Yeah, I do think that Cleveland is going to win this series pretty easily. I did end up taking -1.5 games at -192. I just thought that was a pretty good price to pay there, but I do like under 6 games as well. I just feel like this is a really bad matchup for the Raptors. I mean, not being able to score against a team with Donovan Mitchell and James Harden feels problematic, especially when you score a lot of your points either in the paint or in the mid-range, where you're going to have Jared Allen and Evan Mobley kind of contesting those shots. And also, like, Emmanuel Quickley is very banged up heading into the postseason. Like, not enough people are kind of talking about the fact that he's dealing with 2 separate ailments. I know that, he's expected to play in game 1, but he needs to not just play, but play really well in order for them to have a chance of just kind of keeping up with the Cavaliers backcourt. And I also think Cleveland's bench is just really, really reliable. Not sure I feel the same way about Toronto. So I think this is going to be a pretty easy series for the Cavaliers. I'm worried about what James Harden's going to do a little bit later in the postseason, but these are the types of series where you tend to see him play well. And I do think he's going to have, a good series in the next one as well. I just think it's going to be a little easier on him playing with Mitchell and having Mitchell to take off some of the pressure and keep him from just tiring out at the end of a series.
Zach, where do you sit on Lakers Rockets? Because listening to Hardwood Handicappers earlier in the week, I know you made the case for taking the 2.5 games with LA. Did you end up actually getting that in the account?
Yes, I took Lakers +2.5. I also sprinkled some money line at +530. I just think that we're going to see Luka back at some point in the near future. Like, I don't think that he went out to Europe to be prepared for a second round series. That is not going to happen if he doesn't play. I think he went there to come back in the middle of this series, and I think we're going to see him do that. And I do think that the Lakers are good enough to win one of the 2 games in Los Angeles with just LeBron out there. I think LeBron played fantastic basketball down the stretch in the final 3 games of the year, even the final 4 in the last games that he did not play without Reeves and Luka. I feel like JJ Redick did a good job of putting LeBron in a position to succeed, getting everybody else in the right spots to take pressure off of him. And I just don't trust the Rockets. I mean, it's not really anything to do with Houston and what they did this year. I just feel like without Fred VanVleet, without Steven Adams, you're missing too much of what this team is supposed to be. And I don't think you can just go out there and expect them to just sweep the Lakers or win in 5 games.
All right, we have 2-2-7 matchups left. We have San Antonio, Portland, and then Boston and Philly. San Antonio, Portland, really quickly. I kind of think the Spurs are in for a short series, but a dogfight series. I think, like, ATS-wise, the Trailblazers might be pretty live throughout this set, but what do you expect?
I took over 4.5 games here at like -220. So definitely laying a bunch of juice, but I do think Portland is going to be tough, as you just said. I mean, in the final 15 games of the regular season, there wasn't a better defensive team in the entire NBA than this one. And this is a team that I believe is very good defensively on the perimeter. So I think that they could slow down, some of those guards for San Antonio. And I think that in 1 or 2 of these games, you're going to have to just assume that the Spurs are not going to shoot that well, because this is not the greatest 3-point shooting team in the world. And the guys that can just go out there and knock down shots, consistently, maybe aren't reliable on the other end of the floor, like a Champagnie, like as somebody that I don't see playing as much in the postseason as he did during the regular season. So obviously the Wemby factor here is the biggest one. Like, Deni Avdija is relentless and unguardable driving to the basket, and Wemby is going to be able to take away some of that. But I do think Portland wins a game here. I think that a lot of these games are going to be close, and I think the Spurs win. And I also think they come out stronger because of it, because this is a really good first test and just kind of taste of postseason basketball.
Real quick before we let you go, do you think we see a first-round sweep in any of these series?
I think that the Thunder have a really good chance of sweeping whoever they face, especially if it is the Suns. I mentioned it before, like, Phoenix's half-court offense has been a disaster, and OKC is a team that is just relentless in a half-court setting. So I think that would be a really quick series and one where you might not even see many close games. But Outside of that, I think the best chance is maybe Celtics and 76ers, but I kind of think Philly has enough firepower in that backcourt to get on the board.
Speaking of relentless, Zach Cohen with the workup of VSiN.com. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it. Seriously, you've been crushing it. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Love
and
you, buddy.
Head over to vsin.com now. You can get a little taste of all of the tools and everything like that. You can get a couple articles for free. Then if you like what you see, you can become a VSiN Pro subscriber. Like Zach told us earlier, he has write-ups on every single series that is set, some look-ahead ideas and future plays, teams that he likes, different things like that. vsin.com/subscribe. You can sign up for as little as $9.99 or get 50% off on the full year subscription. We'll be right back.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Looking for an edge betting baseball this season? Check out the VSiN Daily Diamond, sharp daily baseball betting insight all season long. Former MLB pitcher Jensen Lewis and Dave Ross break it all down, lines, totals, props, and futures. You can subscribe to the VSiN Daily Diamond wherever you get your podcast, and while you're there, search VSiN for our full podcast lineup, Money Moves, Pod to the Futures, everything from the NBA and college sports to horse racing and more. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, as we wrap things up here on a Friday. Hopefully get you going into your weekend on a high note. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Looking to last night, I mentioned it earlier, the NHL final week of the regular season was not for me. I am happy that it's over. Let's get into some meaningful hockey where everybody is trying as hard as possible.
Yeah, I thought the product of the National Hockey League down the stretch was abysmal. And in fact, that should have some real conversations about the way that this league is being played. Just really awful to watch.
What should we say?
To be quite honest with you.
What should we say?
I think the league should probably be abolished, to be quite honest. And maybe just break it up and not really watch anymore. Not like anybody does, but still.
Oh my gosh, get enough. I get that you don't like hockey fans and you want to do whatever you can to disparage them because you don't like the way people talk about the NBA.
Hockey fans are so thick-skinned and take criticism so well that it would be hard to get under their skin.
You're right. NBA fans have just never been upset about anything. They've never been critical about ratings or anything like that.
Whatever you're doing, you're definitely not proving my point. It's so easy.
Anyways, 0-2 last night. I want to vomit. But fortunately, the futures went well enough for us. 4-1 on the season-long futures, so we stay profitable for the NHL season. See if we can push it forward into what's to come. I do still have a couple pending futures up in the air. We'll see how those ultimately go. Wild to win the Cup preseason, 40-1. Golden Knights to win the Cup at 10-1, which is currently their price too right now. If you still want to dive in on Vegas, think that they can make a little noise here. As for what I have added for the postseason, mentioned this at the top of the hour. Oilers minus a game and a half in this series with the Ducks. I just think, especially based on the offensive firepower that Edmonton has and the lack of defensive capabilities for Anaheim, it is going to be a relatively short series, one that the Oilers get done. So instead of just, having to lay a more hefty series price, going with the series spread at minus 105 against the Ducks. And then earlier this week, this one's still pending, but already gave it out. Flyers series winner over the Pittsburgh Penguins plus 140. I think both of these series, too, should be relatively high scoring on a game-to-game basis. So that is what I have added. How about you?
All right, let's see. Do I have anything to recap? We already talked about my NHL futures. So let's talk a little bit about what we have added then. Warriors plus 3.5 for today will be one of the plays. Just going to expect that they can get this thing done. Talked about this at length at a couple of different platforms, if you will. I was on a bunch of different shows and interviews this morning, Stormy.
You're such a busy man. So in demand. I think I'm going to add this, by the way, too. So maybe I should make that official. Warriors plus 3.5. I'll tail you on it.
Okay. I think they can win the series. We talked about this a lot, but the statistical combination of Draymond Green and Steph Curry when they're on the floor together is well above average. Not elite, but one of the better lineups you're going to see out there, and they're obviously going to play a good amount of minutes. Curry, again, we've talked about, everybody was freaking out like a bunch of idiots about the minutes restriction that was thrown out there about about him. He was fine. The minutes are going to go up again here today.
He still played almost 36.
Yeah, like what did we talk? And what did I say that day? Because the minute everybody and their mother was like, "Oh, minutes restriction with the playoffs, NBA."
You said, "Oh,
like,
so he's going to play 35."
Yes, right. He's going to play. He didn't. They just said he wouldn't play 40, and like you said, he played 36. So we're getting the full complement of Curry minutes, and I think he and Draymond together are going to be fine. And of course, without all of the sickness, the yakking, and whatnot, I think. Draymond Green's going to be able to provide another good defensive game plan. And Kerr has been great in that role as well in providing some of that stuff there. So Warriors plus 3.5. A fun series bet to throw in here as well. Josh Hart to lead the series against the Atlanta Hawks in rebounding at 30-1. We'll play it. Small play, quarter unit, but look, this should be, I think, a short series. And if I am correct in that, Hart, who is a dynamic rebounder, even for his size, we talked about this with Zach, the fact that each of the last 3 years is in 99th percentiles for his position in defensive rebounding rate, a solid offensive rebounder. His job is just crash the glass, essentially playing power forward as a small guy against a small-ish Hawks team. Just the odds of him leading the series of rebounding. So let's say it's a sweep, and he gets you 10 rebounding game, something like that, there is a much better shot, I think, that he could lead the series of rebounding than 30-1 would indicate. So we'll play that. And we'll go to baseball tonight. The Anaheim Angels taking on the San Diego Padres.
Boo this man.
Jose Soriano getting the start. We'll play the money line here. Angels minus 128 against the San Diego Padres. Now, part of this, now there is first 5 and just banking on Soriano, or there's game, which I would then have to rely on this Angels bullpen, which can be fickle at times. But I will lay minus 128 and believe that Soriano can get it done. And maybe I'll go tonight. Okay. I don't know. I haven't decided whether or not I'll be down there. I would take my time, get down there, whatever.
Yeah, you already have dinner plans, too.
I don't have dinner plans. I have lunch plans. I don't have dinner plans. Somebody out there. I think Chris Massaro lives in San Diego. Maybe I should hit up Chris Massaro. You think you would want to hang out with me? Chris, you listen like every second. Tell me if you'd want to hang out with me.
Text him now. Yeah. Chime in the chat.
It's a pretty good shot. I might get one right now just because I know Massaro does listen quite a bit.
I know he listens specifically on days that he's coming on the show just to see if I'm going to tease him for the right or wrong segment.
Yeah.
It's always you never know what you're going to get with me.
Yeah. But there's 2 games. So I might go tonight, might go tomorrow. We'll see. Might not go at all.
Are you going to tell anybody what you're going for or no?
Have we talked about this? Yeah, we're doing a Spartan race tomorrow. Oh, pending bets, too. That's more important. Knicks minus 1.5 games. Sorry, forgot about that, crew. Appreciate it. A little scatterbrained. Minus 104. That was added earlier in the week. Throw up what else we got. I think Nuggets and Timberwolves over 5.5 games at minus 135. And then last but not least, Cavaliers and Raptors under 5.5 games. But to finish the thought, yes, Spartan race tomorrow out there in San Diego. 1 o'clock. Let's go.
Are you excited? Are you anxious? Is there a part of the Spartan race you're particularly feeling a type of way about? What's the latest?
Well, considering the back injury that I suffered earlier this week when I was deadlifting 10 million pounds.
Because you're so strong.
Yeah, 100%. I believe there is an Atlas carry that is part of this.
Forgive me, what is that?
So an Atlas carry is like a big round stone ball, essentially. Okay. It's supposed to weigh like 90 to 100 pounds for the event. Not that heavy in totality if you're fully healthy or whatnot. So that I think is the one that I'm going to be interested in just because of my back feels pretty good over the last couple of days. But as you well know, as I have shared this with you, I am not one to let that stuff rest. So we'll see. In other words, I might come back with a pretty solid limp or two, but yeah, looking forward to it. It should be fun.
Maybe you can have a Colin Morikawa-like performance.
Yeah. Talk about the back and then go out there and set a course record.
Exactly. Just knock everybody out.
Hoping that's the case, buddy. But yeah, that'll be good.
Are you sticking to your guns on these game ones, just avoiding it, playing the series and not getting involved?
So the one that I might play is Portland against San Antonio. By the way, we might have I don't know if we're announcing this or not. There might be a contest with this NBA postseason that we're all part of. Either way, Portland in the first round and in these games, that might be game one for sure that I'm going to be involved with just because, playing to the thought of Portland being a somewhat competitive team in this series, the size that they have, the length, the athleticism, really good defensive group, I think, as well. I think they're just going to be able to pick at some of the scabs, if you will, that the Spurs have. So this is a little different, man. It's a playoff series. It's best of 7. And I think some of this stuff, when you're talking about hyper-focused game plans and really looking at the way the teams decide to prepare for them, it is different. You see some of those weaknesses exposed in a really big way. Yeah. And that just might lead to San Antonio not being able to just walk over Portland like the market seems to believe they will.
I asked the question to Zach if he thought there was a team that could get swept, and he said pretty much whoever wins tonight in the Western Conference and has to play OKC. As of right now, the odds that are currently available, San Antonio to sweep Portland is the shortest number to have a 4-game sweep at plus 175. But is there any other team you think could be at risk?
Being swept? I don't think so. I mean, I guess we'll throw Atlanta. We throw Atlanta in that bucket, I guess.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's enough edges there that the Knicks in a competitive series could end that pretty quickly. Now, I seem to be not alone because I know Zach believes they can win that series, but market doesn't really seem to buy that, obviously. But again, if we're just talking about like potential sweeps outside of the obvious ones, I think you could probably throw the Hawks in there potentially, and the Raptors.
Oh, okay. Have you made your decisions?
And the Lake. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
Are you going to, or do you care? Like, have you made here's who's going to win, East-West, who's going to win it all? Like,
Nuggets, Cavs. Nuggets win.
I like it. What is that exact? I should have looked this up earlier because I know how much you've liked Denver throughout the course of this thing to win it all. Did you get a text from
Chris Massaro texted me. All right. Heck yeah. See.
My mic pack just,
here we go. I don't know what we're doing here.
No.
All right, I'll take over since we can't do this. I mean, we're getting out of here on a high note, huh?
I was just saying, what are the odds that my mic pack just totally shorts out in the last minute of the show and I couldn't
can't hear anything? All right, that's fine. We can work on this later. Yes, Massaro, I'll call you after the show, as he told me to do. So very much looking forward to the weekend that will be.
Wonderful.
So we got a trip planned. And you have a trip planned. You're going out of town.
I mean, it's a work trip, but yes, I've got the Golden Knights first round game 1 against Utah coming up on Sunday here at home. Then on Monday, I'll be in Dallas for Minnesota, Dallas. And then Tuesday, we'll close things out with Colorado, LA game 2. There should be a fun weekend. I hope all of you enjoy yours and stick around here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Follow the money coming up next. Plenty of NBA and NHL postseason talk. Also with the draft less than a week away, they're doing a deep dive today as well. Stick around.